Hello, this is Kelly Moore, and I'm with Living Yoga. And today I'm here with Deborah Wolk, who is a yoga teacher who's in New York. And Deborah specializes in working with people with scoliosis and back care. And so we are going to be hosting Deborahs shortly in a couple of weeks here at Living Yoga. And so I just wanted to connect and learn a little bit more about Deborah and share what she'll be doing. So welcome, Deborah. We're super
Hi,
excited.
Kelly.
I'm
So
super
great
excited
to see you.
It's great to see you. And I'm so looking forward to your visit in a couple of weeks.
As am I.
So Deborah, tell us a little bit about, yoga and supporting people with back care and scoliosis.
So I've been teaching back care and scoliosis oriented yoga for the past 21 years. And so I've seen many people with back problems and with scoliosis. And the most important thing that I want to share with my students is awareness about the structural issues that confront them and helping them discern between sensation, including strong sensations, and actual pain. So the more you're empowered by the knowledge of what's going on in your body in a very specific way, and how to know when you're having pain or when you're having progress from your practice or when you're having just sensations that are there to tell you something, either positive or negative, the more you can take control of your situation. So often we're going to practitioners who have a self-interest in guiding you towards a treatment that may or may not be appropriate for you. And you want to change this way of working with people so that you're collaborating with your team. So whether it's an allopathic doctor or your yoga teacher or your hands-on therapist or your chiropractor, that you understand what's going on in your body, you're able to interpret your sensations, you're able to find and articulate where something is happening and going on, and then collaborate with them on what you need, as opposed to blindly following instructions. And so when you're practicing yoga with alignment, you'll learn from external cues, not just from your internal feelings. Like things that feel good may not be so good for you, but you'll have external cues and props like walls and mats and chairs and blocks. And if you're in the studio, wonderful props like the ropes and the trestler. And you'll begin to be able to sense where your internal sensations are off and retrain your nervous system to find your way back to center. And what I've found in my own life, and in the lives of my students, is that the more you move into the center, the less pain you have.
It's fantastic. Now, with the upcoming workshop, we have 3 different kind of areas or topics that people can either do what part of or all of. Maybe you could talk just a little bit about those, 3 areas of anatomy, inversions, and working with scoliosis and heart and lungs.
Okay, so a lot of people are really intimidated by anatomy. And so I just want to assure you that one of my gifts as a teacher, I'll toot my own horn, is that I'm really good at explaining even the most subtle aspects of anatomy to people and making it not only digestible and personal, but also making it interesting for even the most completely uninitiated students and for people who know a lot. the type of anatomy I teach, I learned from my teacher, Jenny Capular, and it's called experiential anatomy. And she and I, well, she was a very long time student of Bonnie Maidridge Cohen, and I have also studied with Bonnie. And experiential anatomy is when you learn your anatomy by sensing where the anatomical places are, or whatever we're studying. We'll probably be studying mostly bones and to some degree organs during the heart and lungs workshop. And to some degree, muscle, ligaments might be involved as well. And you'll be palpating it on yourself. So that what's important about this and why this is such a great preparation for the following 2 workshops is that when you feel these places on yourself, and then I talk about these places when you're practicing, you'll be able to locate what needs to move more easily. So Iyengar yoga is very precise, and the system is based on you being able to feel places precisely. But when we're injured or when we have scoliosis, very often our inner sense is distorted. And so the anatomy is going to help bring you back into that precision, so that when you come on Saturday and come on Sunday, you'll be able to work from the correct place. And you'll learn internally. You won't have to memorize names. You won't have to remember every single muscle. It's going to be a much different experience. The second part of the anatomy class is the anatomy of scoliosis and other back conditions. And so that's more learning pathology. And so you'll be looking at a lot of, in all of the class, you'll be looking at a lot of images, beautiful images, very clear images that help explain your particular back problem to you. So I'll be, of course, looking at the people in the class and talking specifically, mostly about the issues that are problems for the people in the room and on Zoom. And you'll be looking at images of how these things happen. And again, learning internally about what the issues are. And you'll see that you have been feeling something wrong. And then when you start to understand what the actual pathology is, you'll see it has certain dynamics that are just very common amongst many people. Very often we feel alone when we have scoliosis, and we feel alone with an injury. And seeing and understanding the pathology in the way that I'll explain it can help connect you to others who have the same kinds of issues. Should I move right into Saturday, Kelly?
Sure.
Okay, so on Saturday, we're doing the inversions workshop. It's a 2-part workshop, so a total of 4 hours. I urge you to stay for the whole day. And this workshop is going to address the safest way to turn upside down. So a lot of people are very nervous about turning upside down. They think it's unsafe. And even for those for whom it is unsafe, like say you have glaucoma, or you have some other kind of eye condition like detached retina, I'll be addressing how you can practice as well without turning upside down and gaining some of the benefits from these inverted postures. So anybody can take this workshop. And those of you who are taking the workshop and can turn upside down, the things that make inversions problematic are strength. Like many of us don't have the strength to lift up, which is why I called it upside down and lifted up. So that lift upwards is what helps in Shirshasana, headstand, and in full arm balance, Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. What makes those poses challenging, and what could also create an injury if you can't lift up. So I'll be showing some exercises and modified poses that help you get that lift in your spine, even if you don't do Shirshasana on Saturday or you don't do handstand on Saturday. That's not the point. The point is to start getting that strength to lift the body. And of course, those in the studio, there's a good chance we'll be using the ropes. But even when you use the ropes, it's really important to not just hang around there, unless you're a very stiff person, but to be able to work in the pose as you hang. So passive hanging is not helpful for moving towards the inversion. So I'll be teaching ways to hang and get that traction, and at the same time, learn to lift up. So it's going to strengthen your arms. It's going to strengthen your back, because when you lift your back up against gravity, then your back gets much, much stronger. And I attribute my daily Shirshasana with the reason why my scoliosis has not progressed in the past 21 years. It's actually been reduced. So, and I'm postmenopausal, and I've had structural changes in my body, and still I have a really long spine. So you can too. If I can do it, you can do it. The other thing, so, and we'll be addressing things like keeping the weight off the neck if you have a cervical injury, how you can do headstand without having weight on the neck. And then Sarvangasana, which is very problematic, not for everybody, but definitely for almost everybody with scoliosis, because our heads are already in a forward tilt position, and Sarvangasana exaggerates that. So I'll be showing ways to practice Sarvangasana where actually your neck is, you get a curve in your neck, which is the opposite of the full pose, but is a great way to practice for those of us who have flattened cervical spines, for instance. And I'll be showing some other ways to practice Sarvangasana that are just good for everybody, and related poses. So you don't even have to go completely upside down. Cool. And then go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just gonna say, and then connecting with the last section on Sunday.
Yeah, so that's yoga to support the heart and lungs. And that's been a very popular topic in my workshops this year, because with COVID and the lungs, it's been on everybody's mind. So with scoliosis, this is a scoliosis workshop on Sunday, although everyone's invited because we all have some asymmetry. The concavity can really create some compression on one of your lungs, or both of the lungs, even if you have two thoracic concavities. And then especially with thoracolumbar curves, which is the curve I have where the apex of your curve is at your diaphragm, it really twists the diaphragm, and there's a part of the diaphragm that gets stuck and doesn't move. So I'll be using the breath work that I use in all of my scoliosis teachings. It is the most basic building block of a yoga for scoliosis practice, is how to breathe into the back body in the areas of concavity and in places where you have a compressed diaphragm. Even in the lumbar, like people who have kyphosis that's lower down, they'll tend to have very narrow lumbars, and the crura of the diaphragm, which are connected in with the psoas muscle, so deep in your lumbar spine, that's also interconnected with your breathing. So if you have a very narrow waist, that can also affect your breathing patterns. So we'll be, whatever your pattern is in your structure, we'll be analyzing it and then finding the internal pathway for you to not only change your breathing pattern, but you'll find that the breath is just as powerful as making physical movements to change your structure and make you have a more balanced structure. So then you can find your inner line, whether it's a crooked line or a straight line. And you'll be able to find your center from within, from your organic breathing.
Right. Well, fantastic. I mean, this will be really, I know this work is really, really helpful for people. And so we're really happy that you're going to be coming out and sharing your knowledge and working individually and specifically with the participants who can make it. The workshop is on October 15th through the 17th, and you can register at livingyogadenver.com. All right. Thank you so much, Deborah. I know that you have to run, and so I'll look forward to seeing you then, to seeing you soon.
Thanks so much for this opportunity and for inviting me, and I look forward to meeting everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.